Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I've got the wonderful Reverend David William Parry back. It's been a long time, but that's because you've been busy moving around up to the Scottish Isles. And we have to do more shows again soon, but we wanted to do a little show about what you're going to be doing in Scotland in the autumn. Welcome aboard, David.
Well, hi, all right. Love to everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's been something of a busy time, as you can imagine. It doesn't sound like a huge move until you actually have to do it. So it's literally one end of the country to the other. And of course, we're on an island. We're on the idyllic Isle of Bute, which lives up to all of its reputation. It's beautiful here. We're surrounded by hills on the verge of being mountains all the way around us. We've got the Gulf Stream, so we've got a microclimate. It's been spectacularly sunny for 5 weeks, and we've been getting continental temperatures, and it's only now the weather's changing a bit, which is good because all the islanders, us included, nowadays we're worried about a drought. So it's good the rain's come back. Surrounded by water everywhere, not a drop of rain. To paraphrase that poem. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Clean air, quality food, lovely people. I mean, not having a dig at the other Scottish Isles, not having a dig, well, bit of a dig, not having too much of a dig at the other Scottish Isles. You always get the impression that you get off the plane or you get off the ferry and the attitude is spend your money and sod off. So what can you do?
but not where you are.
Well, actually, no. I mean, because it was a Victorian holiday resort, so there's a tiny bit of infrastructure, not overload. I'm literally, if I turn to that side, there's a sort of tiny Scandinavian type style market centre. Couple of shops, couple of restaurants, banks. Medicare. All that sort of stuff, and we've got our own hospital, I have to say. And I'm actually watching behind the screen the ferry come in, which is hourly. But because it was a holiday resort, the Brandines, I mean that's the born and bred Buters. They've always had this outward going look. They're interested in other people and what they're doing and why they're here, and they're very, very interested in people becoming new residents. So it's been it was a move. It was a move and a half. But it was worth it in the end, and everybody come and see the Scottish Isles. I mean, even on our island, if you go into the middle, there are ancient stone circles. We're going to hold some St. Valentine's Hall services in the ancient stone circles. And the wilds and wonders of nature and some of the properties towards the north of the island are sort of breathtakingly drop-dead gorgeous. And even this apartment, I mean, continental style. Actually, I'll rephrase that because they say up here, sort of Scandinavian style apartment overlooking the bay. Debbie, we're waiting to see you. Yes, we're also waiting for you to move up.
I'm going to come and have a look because I definitely want to see them stone circles. You showed me some pictures of them and it looks fantastic. Yeah. It's not an island I've been to. So I definitely need to come up and have a wander around and see you guys. Can't wait to see you too as well.
Our doors are always open. I think the protective layering of Bute is people tend to go for the big names like Isle of Skye, Mull of Kintyre, and because there's always the imprint of total nature. But total nature, of course, means you're totally cut off, so be careful. We've literally got the best of both worlds. If I get the ferry, well, yeah, because you can do shopping. What can you do on the Mull of Kintyre apart from starve to death? And that's said with love. But we've got all that too. But we've also got a co-op. There's a Hungarian restaurant directly beneath this building. My new barber is actually from Syria. So, you don't have this sort of blinkered, as I said a minute ago, spend your money and sod off. You don't have that sort of thing here because it's open, and it's wide circulating energies and a genuine interest in what people are doing. If I get the ferry in that direction, we're only 90 minutes in total from Glasgow. So we've literally got the conveniences of a huge, beautiful Victorian city just over there. And, you know, here, this is the countryside. So beauty is magical. You are meant to be one of our neighbours. I know that.
Well, I'm glad that you're still doing your services up there, which I knew you would be doing anyway. And it sounds like I've got to come to a service in a stone circle. It'd be fantastic. But you're also moving the conferences up there. Normally you run the Nephilim Anthropology conference in sunny London, but this time it's going to be in classy Glasgow, I was going to say, I don't know. So do you want to tell us about that, when that's happening and what that's going to be about?
Well, we'll also talk about the new conference that's percolating at the back of my mind, because I know you've got an interest in that one specifically. I mean, you have an interest in both, but we've already talked about the other one that's brewing. I mean, I'll just finish off one thing. I think the other churches are a bit aghast that we're doing such things. I mean, we've met most of the local clergy. I mean, it's protocol. You know, clergy move into a new area. You know, hi, how are you, Becky? You know, it's rather sort of expected. I think some of them have got the cut of my jib already, and that's a good thing, and that's a bad thing.
What are they?
And I think,
are they like Catholic and Anglican, or?
well, now that's interesting. I mean, all of these R's, all of this area geographically was originally Catholic, and it changed to Calvinism. You know, with that particular flow of theological energy. I'm always in two minds about Calvinism, because it can be profound and beautiful. It can also be very judgmental and harsh, and so I'm always in two minds about that. On Butte, because it's unique, we've got the Episcopalians, which of course are Anglicans in disguise. We've got a Roman Catholic. Mostly it's High Kirk, Church of Scotland. We've had positive experiences with everybody. But as I say, you know, if I mention things like stone circles, I'm not sure if the eyebrows are being raised.
Talking about pagan ways and heathens.
Well, I've never denied that. And you know, I think they, as I say, some of them have got the cut of my jib. But yeah, I can't. Anyone that knows me knows I see a continuum in Western spirituality. I do not see the pagan period and the Christian period. I think that's a very lazy view of what's happened in Western Europe. I mean, why do I say that? Because the minute you leave Europe and you leave the Anglophone world, people tend to be very clear about what they think about your part of the world. And traveling through Central Asia, which I have extensively, and Russia, they are very, very, very clear that you are Christian, and this is, you know, a phenomenon, a tradition in different forms. And, you know, the way they use the word, because don't forget to Russian Orthodoxy, none of us are really Christian. We're all still pagans. So, you know, I think, as I say, it's a lazy view, you know, that this period, that period. And it's, you know, it's handy for cataloguing things, but it's not really handy to make sense of things.
Well, your church was always about bringing people together, wasn't it? Of whatever faith or Christian side they were on. You're trying to make it, which is how it should be, you know. We're all united in Christ.
Oh, and you know, I take the word Catholic, which of course means universal, very, very seriously. Either it's universal or it's not. And if it is universal, excuse me, what way is it universal? So I haven't completely horrified the local Roman Catholics, but you know, I've made it very clear, respectfully, that we're a different type of Catholic. And you know, the old Catholic Apostolic Church, us wicked old Catholics, which of course are liberal with a capital L, are very, very interested in mysticism, different forms of worship, different types of spiritual practice. I mean, that's been in our history from the beginning. And I think it's very unwise to say, oh, that's only a couple of hundred years ago. You split from Rome. It was your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. Yeah, I think that's very unwise, because you can see that trend, you can see that current within Catholicism for hundreds and hundreds of years before that. You know, if anything, it was where certain people in Holland, which is how all this started, said, well, no, we're unhappy with everything becoming Roman. You know, why? Why is that? Why is that? And that's no disrespect to the Roman side of it. But, you know, why? Well, if you're Dutch, why do you need to become Roman? If you're English, if you're Scottish, why do you need to become Roman? And then, of course, the Roman Church started talking about things like papal infallibility. no human being can speak with the voice of God. I'm sorry, no, 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 no. And to be fair to the Romans, they've not actually said it's been done. Actually, it might have been done once. And they've never, and the conditions to do it are so complex that I'm not actually sure a human being could actually achieve any of them. But I think the only official one that everyone will agree on is the assumption of the Blessed Virgin, body and soul, into heaven, whereby she becomes the Queen of Heaven. And we can all argue to the back teeth what that means, but that was actually, I think, the one and only generally agreed infallible comment. And for me, that's a mystical comment. So that's a comment for prayer. That's a comment for meditation. It's not so much a comment for argument. And in that sense, that's a real religious mystery, which leads me to the other mysteries. It became impractical to keep our projects going in London. London schmunden, overpriced. People will try and find a way to say no before you've even got the sentence finished. And I think some of the venue organizers, some of the events managers really need to meditate very deeply on the fact they're losing business. You don't really get anywhere free of charge. And if you do, please email me, anyone listening to this, where those venues are, because I need to know. Therefore, if we're willing to spend money and we're organizing a conference which will bring your establishment, it will raise the profile, why are you fighting us tooth and claw to actually hold this on? Sadly, the other hat I wear, as you know, is British theatre. And that's even becoming more true in British theatre, which is appalling in the land of Shakespeare. The big chains are buying up all the theatres. There are hardly any independent theatres left. Pub theatres are the big resource, and they're being closed down at a rate of knots by regional managers who can't see a profit margin. Where does it all end? Just go and booze and then get back to work the next day. Is that all a human being is? So, preaching aside, it became impractical to do anything in London because we're based here now, we live here now. Also, I was increasingly unhappy with the way, as I say, venues were hiring themselves, the terms and conditions, the prices, which are ridiculous, and the fact the managers of these venues wouldn't really accommodate our needs. So this year, we're holding the Nephilim Anthropology Conference, which will be our 4th meeting at the Glasgow Lodge of the Theosophical Society. Gorgeous old Victoria building. They're very, very excited about the whole thing. They're bending over backwards to welcome us and our speakers, of which you're one. It's a 2-day event, 28th and 29th of October. We've got a rich panel of speakers. This will be the last year where there's a total free-for-all amongst speakers, by which I mean, provided you're talking about Nephilim stroke giantism, we want to hear you. I want to keep that multidisciplinary approach going, but I think we do need to recall that, a lot of our client base is Christian. And, I feel from what we've heard, they love all the speakers, but how does this fit into what we think? Yeah, and in an hour slot, and that's said with the best one in the world, we've had some world quality experts, including yourself, coming up. That's difficult for anyone to do. What we can't do is lessen the time of the speakers because we want everyone having a say. So what we'll do is make it slightly more Christian in theme from next year, in the sense that, this is who the Nephilim are, what they are, why why this is our point of departure, and how this blossoms out into other cultures at other times, and the possible relationships between that primary Nephilim story, as we're holding it, and other cycles of stories which are surrounding that. I think that will actually sharpen everything we do. It will not become a Christian rally. It won't become a born-again rally. It will become something, I think, that, you know, there's a clearer agenda so we can unearth what the realities are beneath this phenomena. What do you think, Debbie?
Yeah, we can uncover the mysteries of what this Old Testament books are telling us, which I know there's many different translations of what certain words say in them, and those kinds of things. I know Christians and non-Christians alike are very interested in that subject because it's our origins.
Yeah.
You know, they're there. Okay, we need to pick and choose on which Bible we read, which translation, but it's still the same story in there. So that's going to be great for next year as well, coming from that angle. It's going to be brilliant.
I mean, it gives the people not from that tradition an extra layer to comment on, which I think is exciting. Yeah, and also, you know, why did we start with the Nephilim? Why didn't we start with the giants? Why didn't we start with the Nordic Jotuns? Well, I mean, because I'm a minister of religion, of the Christian religion. How about that? And there's a giveaway. And also, we started as a church fundraiser. I mean, we haven't done too well at that angle yet, but it's early stages for that project. You know, I think that, you know, St. Valentine's Hall, which has taken a new form up here, it still needs to pay its way. So I think, you know, those are very clear points as to why we're starting with biblical mysteries with stories of the Nephilim. And as you said, you know, they're biblical mysteries. They're not clear at all. Are they meant to be taken physically? You know, I mean, there's always something at the back of my mind with Madame Blavatsky that, you know, basically part of the involutionary cycle of this whole earth, this whole planet, some of it's so immaterial where it's, you know, coalescing into matter. It's coming from much higher realms as a concept, as an idea, descending into the realms of matter and taking on shape and form as it goes. I mean, some of her more mystical jabs in that direction always caught my attention. I mean, when she's talking about Lemuria, they would have been giants in Lemuria. I mean, these beings can only be part physical in any way that we understand the word physical. So, you know, there's all that to unpack. And the fact, you know, you've got at least 3 creation stories in Genesis. The Nephilim stories start in Genesis 6, but you've got 3 creation stories, which I personally think refer to these different levels. So, you know, there's a rich, mystical, esoteric treasure trove, you know, current of law here, which I think if we give it a slightly more of a Christian, you know, background, slightly more of a Christian grounding, will help us unearth what's going on behind the scenes there. The other project, of course, we've moved. I mean, I'm not talking about every London venue being a disaster. I mean, certainly when we held our meeting at the Royal Asiatic Society, we were very, very happy with that. And we held last year, as you know, at the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. But, you know, I think we need to get back to our magical roots, and the TS is the perfect host.
Any TS people speaking there for this year's?
Well, I mean, we'll have the secretary of the lodge introducing, you know, the lodge and why we're all there. I couldn't manage to book anybody from the TS. Shame on you. You know, I mean, so it can't be me that talks about the theosophical view of giantism. It's got to be a theosophist. I mean, we can't even book an anthroposophist at the moment, which is, I find that galling, if I'm honest, for the simple reason I'm a fully paid up member. So why can't we actually find an anthroposophist? And yet everyone's busy and everyone's got a diary. But, you know, I just think, you know, this is a conference that's getting some legs. I mean, year 3 means we're an entity and we're on the stage, we're on the map. Year 4 next year, I'm getting people in the States, some very big hitters. I mean, Mike Ricksecker is becoming a very good chum of mine. You know, Gaia TV, Discovery Channel, History Channel, and you know, the author of many books, many international bestsellers. He's really behind the idea and wants to see where it's going to lead. So, you know, I just think maybe, and that said, with the deepest respect to the TS and the AS, can you get your head out your ass and just try and think, you know, when? I'll go for year. I'll go for year. What year you will have someone to speak? You know, so yeah, it is said with goal, and I don't care.
I think from the
So,
anthroposophy side, it is quite difficult to find where Steiner talks about giants. He does talk about them in certain places, but he doesn't go that deep into it. So maybe that's why they're a bit more. Whereas Blavatsky, there's loads. I was looking through the Secret Doctrine the other week, actually, because I
yeah,
wanted to do some research on giants. And she discusses them from all different continents. It was
yeah,
quite amazing. But she, as you say, it was from earlier cycles.
yeah, yeah.
And
Well, I think that's a missing element in what we're doing at the minute. I really want that for next year. But I'm right. I know. I mean, Steiner's a much more. I mean, a scholar. He's a scholar, so he's much more difficult to pin down, and everything's codified and yada yada yada. But he does talk about the different Earths, the different planets, Moon 1, Moon 2, Earth 1, and Earth 2, and so on and so on. So that is the same idea. And why can't someone come along and say, he doesn't say much about the Nephilim, but he does say, why can't someone do that? So I must admit,
there might be a
sorry.
little bit of Steiner in my one because Casey, because I'm going to talk about Casey, aren't I? And he
Yeah,
talks about Steiner. So I'll have
yeah.
a little look to see if he talks about whether it's from the Giants' point of view. But you've got people speaking this year from quite a few different backgrounds. It's quite a mixed set of speakers. I like it.
Well, what we wanted to do was sort of draw a line under our previous. I mean, it wasn't ad hoc, under our multidisciplinary, say anything from anywhere approach, because we want to hone our skills from here on in. And we've got some wonderful people, yourself included. I do hope you keep to the Steiner material. You add that. I really hope you do. I mean, certainly we got the wonderful Maria Wheatley back, Earth Mysteries. What a pro. Maria, if you're watching this, we love you. What a pro. I mean, stone circles, menhirs, ancient magic, earth magic. What a pro. So there's no way we can't have her back. I mean, also what we're doing is slowly dividing people into permanent panelists and, guest panelists. So I'm hoping you'll agree to be a permanent panelist. People that make regular contributions designed to get to a particular point. So we've got Maria back. We've got Leo Zagami back, as controversial as ever. I'm sorry, not only is Leo a friend of mine, does he mean it? But what a showman! Right? He's a regular podcaster. Some very interesting political views, but we're not talking about politics, so there we are.
No politics here either, please.
Yeah, I mean, so is someone to be attacked because they also have that interest? Well, get out of the conference. I don't want to sell you a ticket.
There's people that are coming with quite challenging views and ideas about the Nephilim, about giants, about our past.
Well, I mean, the last book of his I read, which is Confessions of an Illuminati. Well, shouldn't that have been an Illuminatus? But there we are. I mean, don't forget he is a highly qualified, highly ranking Freemason, and as rumor on the street has it, a member of the Illuminati. So that would be the person to talk to. I mean, I have spoken to him briefly about these things, and he is adamant that there's a struggle going on within the Illuminati at the moment between people you can only describe as black magicians and the main membership.
Absolutely, that is what's happening, as we know.
Yeah, and we need that exposed. I mean, need that mentioned by an expert. I know some people, some permanent panelists are a little uncomfortable with that. But I don't know if there's ever a time for that to be talked about. I think it might be now.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand from what you're saying that some people do find it difficult because it's difficult to talk about this kind of thing when we've got like the outside world poo-pooing us, let's say, laughing at us, Ancient Aliens, the TV show, even though I love it and I think it helps people open up and see what's going on. That's shown as entertainment and things like that, were obviously the people that are coming to this conference are people that are going to be wanting to think, discuss and open these kind of topics up.
Well, I mean, I don't even mind if they find it entertainment. I mean, I think, Ancient Aliens, I've not seen many because I tend to get irritated by the professional skeptic. Oh, please, so there is an alien stood by you. No, there isn't. No. That is not called the scientific approach. I'm sorry. That's just called being an old curmudgeon. That's what that's called. So yeah, I mean, as you said a minute ago, number one, this is not a political meeting. This is a meeting of an academic nature discussing a particular topic, a religious topic. And also, how could you turn down someone that wants to talk about insect witchcraft? So I thought that would get you. It got me too. He's given this list of highly improbable things he wants to cover, including insect witchcraft. So there was no way I could say no. Debbie, what can you do? You know, he had me handcuffed. What can you do? It's because I haven't got a
harm is
clue.
done to insects.
Well, I haven't got a clue what he means, but I want to find out, and this is the only way we're going to find out.
Yeah, I'll be
So,
all
all right,
right
yeah.
that one.
Well, there's something going on, but there were. I mean, we've got Andrew Goff again, darling of the Discovery Channel, History Channel, Gaia. I mean, alternative scholarship aficionado. I mean, a very accomplished man.
His
We've
talk
got
blew me away last year.
Yeah,
Absolutely blew
yeah.
me away. What he had to say was just, I was just like, don't let it end. Keep going.
Well, I never know what to. I mean, I always view the panel. You know, we've got the hard scholars like Vladimir Wiedemann, who was actually involved in Moscow back in the day. I hate that expression. Back in the day, with the new anthropology, which is one of the core ideas behind this. You know, where they all started saying at Moscow State University, look, there are so many skeletons of so many different sizes. The official view simply can't be true. So, I mean, that's where all this, you know, that's one of the core elements that started this project. So he's on the academic side. Mog Morgan, you know, with his Egyptology, that's on the academic side. You know, hard facts, solid interpretations, you know, very, very engaging deliveries. Then you get sort of the alternative, but they can fit into the mainstream. You know, Maria comes to mind instantly. Hugh Newman, whose recorded talk last year was a tour de force. It was incredible. All the way to sort of the outside of the box. I put Andrew Goff there because what Andrew is doing, to my understanding, is talk. You know, he's saying, what do we really know about the Earth? What do we really know about our perceptions, our histories? If there really is magic in the system, what can we know?
I just wanted to clarify, because you just reminded me, we should make it clear. This is a live event, isn't it? This isn't going to be on Zoom. You have to.
Well, it will be. I mean, it started as a completely Zoom type event because it was in the middle of the lockdowns, and I was trying to think of ways to cheer everybody up. And you know, I thought let's get a good discussion going. But no, I like hybrid events, as they're called nowadays, where you get bums on seats. You know, there's an energy to people, living, breathing people actually being there and not just on the airways. But we do have a virtual presence. There will be tickets available for those that cannot be with us. Some of our American followers, regular followers, simply can't be with us. It's too long a journey. It's too expensive. You know, I fully understand that. So there will be a virtual, you know, an online quota. But I love the in person. That's the theatre in me, theatre guy in me coming out. I love the in person people.
And where can people find out about this then? For the other tickets, the tickets are available now, aren't they? They've gone on sale.
Tickets are available. I'm now looking rapidly at where to get the link.
Because there's two links, isn't there? One for live, if you want to come in person, and then there'd be the other one, which is the Zoom one. So if you're booking your tickets, make sure you've got the one you want to be at.
Yeah.
You want to be
certainly.
Or not.
Yeah, I mean, we always sell through Eventbrite because it's such a useful system. You know, if anybody needs an instant refund, we do it through them. So, you know, if there are any problems, we can let everybody know through a central system. So it actually fits us. I mean, it's professional and it suits us because it's such a good system. So what they'd have to look at for the general address is NACON, NACON, in other words, Nephilim Anthropology Conference, NACON 2023.eventbrite.co.uk.
I will put a link in the box down here when this goes out. So there'll be a link down there as well. We're going to run out of time soon. So I just wanted to, well, first off, thank you. But is there anything else you want to say about the conference before we end this episode?
Well, two things quickly. Anyone interested in my play, The Grammar of Witchcraft, is in the third week of the Edinburgh Festival. And there's no direct link, but there are a lot of very gifted, talented people in it, and we're in a C venue. So anyone that loves theatre, that loves storytelling, that loves poetry, come and visit us. You will not be disappointed. Also, we're thinking of a sister panel, academic panel, on the gin, which I'm thinking of forming maybe as an online event to begin with, because that's how we tested the waters with the Nephilim. And maybe we'll test the waters again. So far, it is showing, it shows that we've got a lot of interest. But does that translate to bums on seats? Because people need to be paid. So I like giving speakers a speaker's fee, because they've gone to all that trouble. Call me old fashioned, and if we can't do that, at least we like to cover travel expenses. You skinflints. So we got to see if there's. Somebody told me once, old content should be free. Take the shirt from my back. It used to be called slavery.
Yes.
That's called slavery. We're not all working for you, love. But what else have I got to say about the Nephilim Anthropology Conference? This is a growing project. It's an evolving concern. We've got an increasingly skilled and intelligent panel, and we are beginning to unearth certain facts we can all share about ancient stories which at least are partially physically true. What that means and where we end up in 3 years, I don't know. But without the conference, we wouldn't have got this far.
Oh, thank you, David. And I hope to see many of you people there or online to watch it. We're going to do a few more shows about speaking with different speakers throughout the next few months, running up towards it anyway, so we can remind people about it. But thank you again, David, and we'll speak again soon.
Always a pleasure, Debbie. You're a brilliant person. You're a wonderful host. You're quite a speaker yourself. So I can't, I always look forward to these shows and working with you. Every blessing to you.
Thank you.